Yeah. This yeah, you got. They have this truth right in our face. But our people can't see this. You asking about yeah, sure you all know what this is. Jacob and Esau. Alright? Yeah.
See that?
Right there in your face. Alright? This is the slave settlement where our ancestors lived, dwell. Alright? All of this here. Because you remember now it's 2,000 acres and across the road. So all of this right here we're walking in was just slaves, buildings. Okay? This is one of the slaves village right here. This is one of the buildings. They just look like they are refreshing it or what do you call it? Refurbished. Yeah, here is one of the beds that they make out of tree. Basically, the roof. These leaves were on the roof, and this is exactly what they used. The thatch. And you can look this stuff up online. You will see exactly that, especially this right here. You will see that.
I'm going inside.
Let's see. Regulation for the government of the slaves at Clifton and what is it? To Succumb in New Providence. Alright. It's printed in 1815. Wow.
Also says that during the early 1800s there were as many as 67 African slaves here at Clifton.
Shalom.
The early Hebrew Israelites back here again with this truth, you know, doing a little bit of history. As you can see here, we on a slave plantation here at Clifton, Nassau, Bahamas, you know. We have a brief article here, you know, going into the origins of slavery, you know, into the Afro-Bahamians once again. Alright? So it says here, most of the enslaved Africans brought to the Bahamas were West Africans. Alright? Which we know that they were Israelites dispersed, you know, from the time of during the Roman persecution, you know, they ransacked Jerusalem. Alright? So let me just prove that briefly. Here using the book of the Babylon, from Babylon to Timbuktu, you know, page 84, you know. It says in the year 65 BC, the Roman armies under General Pompey captured Jerusalem. All right. In 70 AD, General Vespasian and his son Titus put an end to the Jewish state with great slaughter. During the time period of the military governors of the Palestine, many outrages and atrocities were committed against the residue of the people. All right. During the time period from Pompey to Julius, it has been estimated that over 1 million Jews fled into Africa, fleeing Roman persecution and slavery. The slave markets were full of black Jewish slaves. All right. So this is one of those sites right here now. All right. Because it says here, most of the enslaved Africans brought to the Bahamas were from West Africa. So we see here that the Israelites, you know, fled into West Africa. All right. And then we were brought here to serve slavery. All right. Deuteronomy 28:68. All right. Reading along, it says, in 1807, the British abolished the slave trade. During the following decades, all right, they resettled thousands of Africans liberated from slave ships by the Royal Navy, which interceded the trade in the Bahamian Islands. All right, slavery was abolished in the British Empire on August 1st, 1834. All right. But this is just to show you and to prove to you that, you know, that the Israelites were brought here as slaves. All right. Moving along, it says in the 1800s, you know, in the 1800s, hundreds of African American slaves and Seminoles escaped from Florida to the Bahamas, settling mostly on Northwest Andros Island, where they developed the village of Red Beds. All right. As we can see here, it says African American and Seminoles. That's Judah and Israel. All right. Judah and Israel were oppressed together. Jeremiah 50:33. All right. All right. It says some of their descendants can continue similar traditions in basket making and grave making. All right. And all right. Now moving along. It says the American slave ship, the Comet. All right. Let's see what that looks like. All right. Comet. All right. The American slave ship, the Comet, as we can see here, you know, they were responsible for bringing these slaves over here. All right. It says American slave ship coming and used in its domestic coastwise slaves trade had wrecked off the Abaco Island in December 1830 and February 1834, respectively. All right. One more. All right. It says it was carrying about 135 slaves from the Virginia from Virginia destined to sail into New Orleans. The Bahamian officials freed 128 slaves who chose to stay on the island. Alright? And this, like I say, this the slave ship here, one was responsible for that. Alright? Alright, and this here, this is the actual image on the ship. Alright? Alright. So now moving along now, we'll move to another site. And we'll bring out some more history on that.
On the track, boys.
Alright. So our slaves, our ancestors dwelled here in the village. Alright, now all through this bushes right here, there are houses, together, because we know that they were not too far from each other. Okay?
Alright. Shalom. Alright. The real Hebrew Israelites. We back here on another location. Another slave plantation. Alright. So we're gonna go into a brief history now about the African diaspora to the Bahamas. Alright, it says the book opens with an overview of the African slave trade. Alright, between 1650 and 1860, as many as 15 million enslaved people were transported from West Africa to the Americas. Alright, from the 9th to the 19th century, millions more were dispersed throughout Asia and the Middle East. The African diaspora refers to the movements of these people and their descendants throughout the world. Alright, but now before these people actually get to West Africa, they were in Jerusalem. Alright, but we have an account here again in the book from Babylon, from Timbuktu. Let's read this to give you an overview as to what's happening. Alright. This is from Babylon to Timbuktu, page 84. It reads, in the year 65 BC, the Roman armies under General Pompey captured Jerusalem in 70 AD. General Vespasian and his son Titus put an end to the Jewish state with a great slaughter. Alright. During the period of the military governors of Palestine, many outrageous and atrocities were committed against the residue of the people. During the period from Pompey to Julius, it has been estimated that over 1 million Jews fled into Africa, fleeing from Roman persecution and slavery. The slave markets were full of black Jews, Jewish slaves. Right, it said the slave market were full with black Jewish slaves. Alright, but now, like I said before, these were Israelites fleeing Roman persecution, as we just read. And they fled into the interiors of Africa. Alright? So now the next account that I have to support that would be in the Bible. Alright? In the book of Deuteronomy 28:64 and also verse 68, to solidifying that this actually happened. Alright? And these people fulfill this prophecy. Alright? Now we'll get that, and we'll get some more accounts in the Holy Scriptures showing you that these same people were dispersed. Alright? This is Deuteronomy chapter 28 and 64. And Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people, from one end of the earth even unto the other end. And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. Right, so the Most High said he will scatter thee because we transgress his laws, statutes, and commandments, that this curse was going to fall upon us. And one of the curses is that we were going to be scattered unto the ends of the earth, from one end even to the other end. Alright? Now, let's get how that happened. Alright? Alright, this is Deuteronomy chapter 28 and 68. And Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. Right, and we are witnessing, we here at the slave plantation here at Clifton Heritage in the Bahamas, showing you that this actually happened. God. Alright? We standing right here, seeing this prophecy fulfilled right here in our face on the ground. Alright? We walking on it, we feeling on it, we touching it. Alright? That this prophecy actually happened to this group of people. Alright? So now I want to bring out a couple more prophecies showing you that these same people were in fact scattered throughout the whole world. Alright? They were scattered out through the what you know as the Eastern world. We're gonna get that, and also throughout all the world as we see in here. Alright? This is Isaiah 11 and 11. Alright? And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria, and from Egypt, and from Pathros, and from Cush, and from Elam, and from China, and from Hamath, and from the islands of the seas. Khan, all these places, these same set of people were scattered. They were dispersed. Alright, read. Alright. Verse 12. And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather together the dispersed from Judah from the four corners of the earth. Khan. Alright. So now we see here this prophecy is fulfilling. Alright. We see the prophecy here is being fulfilled. Alright. And this is in the old world, what is known as the East, or the Middle East. Alright? Right. Alright, so now we're gonna get another account where these Israelites were scattered. Alright? Okay, this is Acts chapter 2, starting at 5. And there were dwelling at Jerusalem Jews, devout men out of every nation under heaven. Right, so we see that Jews were scattered into all nations. Alright, including here in the Bahamas. Alright, see that? Alright, now jump down to verse 9 now. Alright, verse 9. Parthians and Medes and Elamites and the dweller of Mesopotamia and in Judea and Cappadocia and in Pontus and in Asia. Wait. Phrygia and Pamphylia in Egypt and in the parts of Libya about Cyrene, and strangers of Rome, Jews and proselytes, Cretes and Arabians, we do hear them speak in our tongues the wonderful works of our power, Yahweh Basham, Yahweh Shai. God. Alright, so all these places we see here that these Jews were being scattered. Alright, but we're gonna get some more. Just to ready your minds so that you could understand, or we could paint the picture as to what happened. Alright? Showing you that these Israelites were dispersed into all these places. Alright? And we're going to name a few more. Alright? You have the precept? Alright, this is Mark chapter 3, verse 7. But Yahweh withdrew himself with his disciples to the sea, and a great multitude from Galilee followed him, and from Judea, and from Jerusalem, and from Idumea, and from beyond Jordan. Alright, so all these places where the Israelites were scattered, and also the Israelites coming out looking like these other nations as well. Alright, but we can hit you with one more precept, you know, showing you that we were scattered into all these places, including once again here in the Bahamas. Alright? Because like I said, we touching this right now. We seeing this is actually a ruins from the slave plantation here in the Bahamas. Alright? Clifton Heritage. All right, this is what this site is called. All right, and Lord willing, we're gonna shoot a couple more clips and show you around the plantation. All right, because this is a big landmass to cover. This is 2,800 acres we have to cover. We could try and see if we could fit it all into one video. If not, we'll just have to break it up in parts. All right.
God.
Read.
All right, this is James chapter 1:1. James, a servant of the Most High and of the Lord Yahawashi Mashiach, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greeting.
Done. All right, so showing you that we were dispersed into all lands. All right. Point. See what I said? We basically could drop the mic on that. All right. And we're in this plantation of those same Jews who were dispersed. Actually, we are the descendants of those people, and we're gonna prove that. All right. So now moving along, right? In the same year, article here from the African Diaspora to the Bahamas. It says here, it says probably the first to arrive in the Bahamas were black crewmen on Columbus Tree ship in 1492. It says although there's no specific record of them, that's because that don't exist. We know that the Northern tribes was there first.
God.
All right, and we're gonna prove that. All right. It says it is known that both free and enslaved Africans took part in the early Spanish voyage of exploration, as well as being an important part of the Spanish society at the time. Well, we know that that's a lie because as a matter of fact, we're going to let the scriptures point it out. All right, give me book of 2nd Edwards chapter 13, start at 39. All right, because Columbus, he read the scriptures and he said that this is manifest destiny. All right, but manifest destiny have a part 2. All right, all right, and on top of that, right? Why, if Columbus discovered this part, why would he need to bring Hebrew interpreters? All right, give me that precept there.
This is 2nd Edwards chapter 13 and 39. And whereas thou sawest that he gathered another peaceably multitude unto him.
Read.
Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, whom Salmanasseh the king of Assyria led away captives, and he carried them over the waters. And so came they into another land.
All right, you see that came they into another land, dealing with the northern kingdom. All right, great. And also, Salakia, right? Also, what we got to find out is that the majority of these people here that dwelling in these parts, you know, they are Reubenites. All right, through diligent research. All right, we could prove that the majority of these slaves that were brought here to the Bahamas, that they are Reubenites from the tribe of Reuben, the Seminole Indians. All right, read.
Verse 41. But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt.
Read.
That they might there keep their statutes which they never kept in their own land.
Right, because they transgress the laws of the Most High Power, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, and he said Shalmaneser, starting with Tiglath-Pileser the second or the third, you know, and he took the land of Naphtali and he carried them captive, and his son Shalmaneser carried the rest of the tribes into Assyria. All right, so this is them taking. This is the peaceable multitude, which is the 10 tribes which are being brought from Assyria by ships into this side of the world. All right, read.
And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow passage of the river.
All right, read.
For the Most High then showed sign for them, and held still the flood till they were passed over.
Read.
For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, and the same region is called Asareth.
The same region is called Asareth. Now, if you look here, all right, this is what the Akim is explaining. All right, from the river Euphrates, come straight down here, touch down here into South, what is known as South America. All right, see here, from the great river Euphrates, from right here, from the Salaki, I can't pronounce the name right now. All right. Easy on Giba, but in post-production we'll put the name there. Alright? See you from the great river Euphrates, come all the way down to the Horn of Africa into the Americas. That's what he's talking about. And that's how we get here, that's how the northern tribes get here. Alright? Now check this out, right? Check this, let's read the next verse. Alright?
46. Then dwell they there until the latter time. And now, when they shall begin to come, the highest shall stay the springs of the stream again, that they may go. Then dwell they there until the latter time. And now, when they shall begin to come.
Right. Okay, so now they dwell there until a lot of time. So these same people, they're still here on this side of the world today. Alright, which prove the Israelites are still here. Alright, jump up one again, read verse 45 for me again.
Alright, verse 45. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, and the same region called Asareth.
Now, we look up Asareth. Now let's see where Asareth is, or what is also known as. Alright? Alright, this is Asareth from Wikipedia. Alright, it said the name of the land beyond the great river, far away from the habitation of man, in which the 10 tribes of Israel dwelt, observing the laws of Moses until the restoration according. Alright, this second at verse 13 and 45, which we just read. Alright, Columbus identified America as that land. Alright, so it says the Americas, so also the Caribbean is also included in that. Alright? Alright? So America is also known as Asareth. Alright?
It's 1 Kings 9 and 26. And King Solomon made a navy of ships and Easy on Giba.
Alright, Easy on Giba. That is right there by the river Euphrates. That's what's the name that I was trying to remember. Alright? See that? It only makes sense for him to have his ships by the river or by the sea. Alright, read.
Which is beside Elot.
Easy on Giba. Alright.
Which is beside Elot on the shore of the Red Sea in the land of Edom.
Read.
And Hiram sent in the navy his servants. And Hiram sent in the navy his servants, shipments that had knowledge of the sea, with the servants of Solomon.
Alright, so these are so-called Hamites and Israelites working together. Alright, read.
Verse 28. And they came to Ophir and fetched from thence gold 420 talents and brought it to King Solomon.
Right, so in America is also known as Ophir. Alright? Now what we're going to do to further prove that, we're going to jump now to chapter 10 and verse 22. Alright, and we're going to tie that back into second address.
Alright? This is 1 Kings 10 and 22. For the king had at sea a navy of Tarshish with the navy of Hiram. Once in 3 years came the navy of Tarshish, bringing gold and silver, ivory and eggs and peacocks.
All right, so peacock.
Peacocks.
All right, it says once in every 3 years. See what I saying? It says once in every 3 years. All right. So the Phoenicians, which is the Zidonians, which is the Canaanites, which they are also the Hamites, they were the ones with the knowledge of the seeds. All right. So now give me our second address, chapter 13. Start at let me see. 45. Read 45. All right. Because Solomon took them it took them 3 years to get there on this side of the world into Ophir, which is also known as the Americas, which is also Asherah. All right. Read.
45, 13 chapter, second address. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half.
All right, like namely of a year and a half. So a year and a half is one way, one trip, one way. All right. I need to drop that. All right. Now, back to this article, it said probably the first to arrive in the Bahamas were black crewmen on Columbus' ship in 1492. Now we proved that to be a lie. All right, because also we prove it from the scriptures. Now let's prove it from history. Because if they were the first ones to be over here, why would Cristobal Colon, all right, which you all know him as Christopher Columbus, why would he need to bring a Hebrew interpreter? God. All right. So as I was saying, right, if these were the first ones, why would Cristobal Colon, which you all know him as Columbus, why would he need to bring a Hebrew interpreter? All right, and this is from the Wikipedia, Louis D. Torres. All right, Louis D. Torres died 1493. Born perhaps Yahweh Ben Lawaya YASHARAHLA. All right. It said was Christopher Columbus interpreter on the first voyage and the first person of Jewish origin to settle in America, which that's a lie because he met the northern tribes over here, right? But he brought a Hebrew interpreter. Why would he bring a Hebrew interpreter if these were the first set of people over here? That makes no sense.
None at all.
All right. Now, moving along to the arrival of the Lutheran adventurers from Bermuda in the mid-1600s, which we just proved that wrong. All right. By 1670, a number of African men, women, and children were living in the Bahamas, and 4 years later, Bermuda banished a small group of slaves, together with all free black and Indians, to the Bahamian island of Neutral. All right. All right, and this is a picture of the slave trade.
It's right here. It's a picture of the slave trade. It's coming from Africa, right here, West Africa, that came into Asherah, which is America, south. All right, you all can see.
One more, another article here from the African Diaspora Archaeology Network. All right, it says here, it is an established fact that migration is an essentially widely aspect accepted to the Western Indian life. You know, it is equally established that all West Indians, including Bahamians, are descendants of the migrants. All right. Once again, we could link that to
Deuteronomy 28 and 68. And Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen. And no man shall buy you.
All right, so we still here. All right, and to prove that we are not those Africans. Alright, because we have proof here, we have certificates and documents here to bring them. Alright, to show you that we are not the same people as Africans. Alright, we are, you'll never see no Africans who's been found on the slave, on the auction slave cloth. Now we're going to show you some historical evidence to prove that point. Alright.
One right here. You never been heard no African being called no Negroes. Alright. Take a good look at that. You can pause the screen and check it out. Read it slowly. Alright, that's one. Alright. And take a look, take a good look now. Alright. Once again, pause the screen. Alright. Okay. Alright. This is right here. Okay, the route how we get from Africa, West Africa, down to here. So Christopher Columbus tells a lie. Alright. These don't look like no Africans. Look at them good. They don't look like no Africans. Okay? They are Israelites, our ancestors who dwelt here. Alright, and we already show actually we are sitting in one of them. Alright? This is a picture of one of them set we were at a little earlier. Alright? So you can look good. You can see that they ain't no African. Alright? An African don't look like them. Alright? Take a good look. Okay?
Alright, we got one more article here. As you can see, these supposed to be Lucayans. See what I'm saying? Lucayans. Alright? I just can read through it briefly. Alright?
As you can see here, there are Israelites. And this village right here, the houses them were not too far away. So each side we went wasn't far away. But as you can see, how they walking through with their suits and all that stuff. Alright?
Alright? So this is the Arawak people from Aru, the Lucayan word for cassava and flour. But once again, our people, they like cassava and flour. Johnny Cake. You see what I said? God. Dumpling. See what I said? Some of the indigenous people of the West Indies. The group belonged to Arawakan language family, which is Hebrews anyhow. Alright? They were the native whom Columbus encountered when he first arrived in the Americas in 1492. You see what I said?
Yeah.
That's why that's the purpose of them bringing the Hebrew interpreter.
God.
Because these people spoke Hebrew.
Right.
Alright?
And Christopher Columbus knew that because he knew that Solomon had sent over Judites over here for gold.
Done. Ever.
You know,
That's it.
every 2 years, a year and a half going, and a year and a half coming back. Christopher Columbus knew that. That's why he brought over the Hebrew interpreter.
Done.
You know,
read this and then he can bring the scripture out. It says, the Arawak people include Taino. Alright, showing you that there's no difference between the Tainos and the Arawak because they are all Hebrews. Alright, who occupied the Lesser Antilles and Guadeloupe called the Turtle, meaning the island of beautiful waters, before being killed by the Caribs in the 8th century. Alright, so we're going to close with this, with Cristobal Colon. He came this way, and he read the scriptures, and he said what? Let's manifest destiny. Alright? Also, he come here looking for that gold as well, like the archangel said.
This is 2 Kings chapter 18 and 11. And the king of Assyria did carry away Israel unto Assyria, and put them in Hala and in Harbor by the river of Gozan, and in the cities of the Medes.
Alright, now, when you look up Harbor, it's H22. It's H2249. Alright? It's the tributary of Euphrates River in Assyria. Alright, and that's where they were brought from Assyria to this spot. Done, alright? So with that, we hope that you were edified with this brief history. Shalom.